You began this day in silence, though you have long since forgotten it. You can hear it if you listen, the way a room settles when the last task is finally set down, the small machinery of the day winding off into stillness. And some part of you is bracing against that quiet, treating it as an empty space to be filled, a gap where one more thing could still be done. As if the silence were a kind of waiting. But isn't waiting. It's where you began. This is about the simplest fact of any day, the one we keep forgetting, that every day rises out of silence in the morning and returns to silence at night, and that coming back to the quiet now is not an escape from your life. It is a return to the root your life grew out of. You are not losing the day. You are letting the day carry you back to where it started. There is a passage in the Tao Te Ching, written more than 2,000 years ago, that describes this return better than anything written since. In James Legg's old translation, the 16th chapter reads, "The state of vacancy should be brought to the utmost degree, and that of stillness guarded with unwearying vigor. All things alike go through their processes of activity, and then we see them return to their original state. And then the line that holds the whole evening, this returning to their root, is what we call the state of stillness. Read it the way it was meant. Everything that moves comes back. The day went out into its 1,000 activities, the meetings and the messages and the small urgent fires. And now, like everything else under heaven, it is returning to its original state. The stillness was not interrupted by your busy day. The stillness was the ground your busy day stood on the entire time, and it is still here, exactly where it was, waiting to receive you back. The activity was the exception. The quiet is the home. We have this backwards in the modern world. We treat the noise as real and the silence as absence, the doing as life and the resting as the pause between living. But the old book says the opposite. The going out is the temporary thing. The coming back is the deep and constant thing, the root that does not move while the branches toss in the wind. To return to your root at night is not to do nothing. It is to remember what you are underneath everything you did today. The poet Rilke understood this in his own way, writing to a young man frightened by everything he could not resolve. The spirit of what he offered was simple and hard. Let everything happen to you, the beauty and the terror alike. Just keep going and trust that no feeling is final. He was not telling that young man to fix his life before he could rest in it. He was telling him to stop demanding that the day be resolved, to let it move through him instead of clutching it. Because the things we live are larger than our verdicts on them, and most of what we carry into the dark needs not to be solved but simply to be let pass. The day does not have to be finished to be released. It only has to be allowed to move on through you, the way everything that moves eventually returns. And the writer Henri Nouwen, who spent his life thinking about solitude, named what waits at the end of that return. He understood the night and the quiet as a homecoming to a still center, a place where you are held and loved without having to produce a single thing to earn it. Rest, he came to believe, is not something you achieve by finishing. It is something you receive by stopping. The center was never yours to build. It was always there, underneath the day's relentless asking. And the discipline of the evening is not to do more, but to finally let yourself be received by what asks nothing of you at all. Notice what the day quietly taught you to believe. It taught you that the quiet is dangerous, that to stop is to fall behind, that your worth is something you assemble hour by hour out of completed things, and must keep assembling or it dissolves. That is why the silence feels like pressure now, like a question you have to answer. But it was never a question. The silence does not want anything from you. It is simply the place you came from this morning, the same place the whole day came from, holding open and unhurried, ready to take you back without asking what you finished. Turn toward it the way you would turn toward an old house you grew up in. You do not have to prove anything to a home. You only have to come inside and let the door close and let the day be over. The return to stillness is not a reward for a productive day. It is the thing the day was always quietly moving toward, the root beneath the branches, waiting. So tonight, let the day return the way all things return. I let the activity of the day come to rest, the way everything that moves comes back to stillness. I return to the quiet I came from this morning, and I call it home, not absence. I let the day move through me instead of demanding that I resolve it tonight. I stop trying to earn my rest, and I let it be given. I let myself be received by the still center that asks nothing of me at all. So let the quiet close around you now, not as an empty room to be filled, but as the root you are finally returning to, the same stillness this whole day rose out of at dawn and is now, like every moving thing under heaven, coming gently back into. And you do not have to resolve any of it before you go, not the unfinished, not the unsaid, not the small ache of the things that did not land the way you wanted. You only have to let them move on through you the way Rilke said, and trust that no. Feeling is final, while the still center on renewing spent his life returning to holds open beneath all of it, receiving you without asking what you produced. And somewhere this morning the same day began the other way, rising as if it were the only one you would ever be given. The way Seneca warned against wasting the short time we are loaned, and Marcus Aurelius counseled living as though you might depart at any moment, and the old Hagecure taught the samurai to meet each morning freely, already at peace with the end. And so the morning rises like it's the only one, and the night returns it gently to the silence it came from, the going out and the coming back, the breath drawn and the breath released. And now there's nothing left to do but let it go all the way back to where it began, and rest. Begin disciplined and reflective.